everybody, this is Justin at V55 Restorations, another episode of V55 Garage. We just got back from camping, our our maiden voyage in the Roamer camper, and we're just finished unpacking. My daughter is over there playing in the dirt, because that's what she does. So if you hear her screaming, or if she decides to make a debut, you know why. But anyway, so this is a vintage slide-in truck camper, fiberglass, and I'll go into it a little bit more. But the backstory is there's really not much of a backstory. Disclaimer: if you've ever seen a fiberglass slide-in trailer from the 50s and 60s before, or have any information, please contact me. I'm trying to find more history on this thing and I can't. But the short backstory is we've owned it for about 3 weeks. It was, in a backyard. Actually, it was at Funky Junk Farms. Johnny Agnew sold it to me. He got it from an estate sale previously that was sitting in some person's backyard for a long time, and that's all the information. And so anyway, like I said, I got it about 3 weeks ago, and it was a pile, and I booked a camping date down in Pinecrest and Julian 3 weeks after that to test it out, and so I had it done by then. So I've been busting my butt a little bit, but anyway, so like I said, it's fiberglass. It's sitting in our 66 F1 or F250 shop truck. You can see it's short a little bit in the front, it's short a little bit in the back. That's because it is a 7-foot camper. Normally these vintage slide-ins are either meant for a short bed or meant for a long bed. This was meant for, and then the difference would be if it was tailgate on or tailgate off. 7 foot would be a short bed, 6-foot bed with the tailgate off, and it would extend out over the bumper and kind of tuck down around. And there's two fascias that are in front that would cover basically that hole. That being said, this is a long bed truck. I didn't want a long bed camper just because then I would have to take the tailgate off every time I wanted to use it. But in addition to that, it's obviously a lot heavier to have a longer one. And most of those are cab overs from the 60s. We actually used to own a 1958 cab over slide-in camper. It was very heavy. The truck took it fine, but you have to put jacks on it to get it up and get it down, and it's kind of a pain. This one's fiberglass, much smaller. 2 guys can actually lift this, so it's really easy to take on and off. But it's a strange length for that reason. It's also a strange height. It's a truck shell basically, but it is slide-in. That means it's self-contained. Normally a shell would just be attached, and so you'd have the inner bed would just be the inside. This is a slide-in, not just a shell, but it would have normally been just a little bit higher than the bed, than the cab, and all the way back. This area right here you can see is kind of not as nice as this. That's because this was all, you can actually see right here, this fabric piece was wrapped. Somebody did a custom fiberglass job on this, the guy who originally bought it, and he cut the whole thing, put in 10 inches of wood, pretty well actually, and then fiberglassed over all of that by hand. So he actually lifted the whole thing up 10 inches, which I'll show you once we get inside was a very, very good move, and one of the selling points is why we bought it. We bought it to be a road trip vehicle so that I could pull our hauler trailer and make deliveries, but also not have to pay for hotels. That's what we're looking for. So this worked perfect. 4 turnbuckles holds it down. It stays in there without them, but keeps it stable. Original windows all the way around. Paint job I put on, and I followed that fiberglass line down here just so I wouldn't have to clean this up as much. I didn't want to do a ton of body work. The whole thing is wavy because he just did it by hand, and I'm gonna abuse it. I didn't really want to redo all of that, so I just did that section in white to hide it. Added the stripes, and then on the back I added the stripes to fit and left the door turquoise. Obviously it's the same colors as the truck. So where he added that strip in right here, the door, he couldn't do that because of the window, so he added it up there. So this is actually added on from this point up as well. So about what this is before we go to the inside. Oh, and all the windows do open and lift. And the top vent, which is new, I put on, lifts, does all that. But what I've added exterior-wise, other than paint, the vent, the handrail, these pull-outs to be able to slide it out without extra help, and that lamp, none of those were original. These braces, the handle, windows, all this, that is original. I had to notch this a little bit. This sweep would have gone all the way to the corner to cover this section on a short bed, but because I put it in a long bed, it has to sit farther back, and so that fascia was hitting right here, as you can see when I loaded it in the first time. Took off some paint, but so I cut that down just so it would slide all the way in. This is literally all the information I have on this trailer. I redid the plate, but it's what it said and had originally. It's got a serial number, and it says the Romer fiberglass pickup truck top, manufactured by Glass Laminates Incorporated. And the only information I have is that was Costa Mesa on Harbor, and that was where Glass Laminates was. But there's no history of it other than where it was, when they were producing, what they produced, any of that. So. That's all the information, but just judging on the windows and the handles and all of that kind of stuff, late 50s, early 60s. But you could buy those parts long after that. So the earliest it would be, later 50s. But I do have one other little piece of information. So obviously this is the inside. Costco still to help me get in since I have the tailgate down. So, when I bought it, the only information that Johnny had come up with was a sold ad in a book that he had. As you can see, it's the same trailer. The only difference is that instead of being a arch here, it's a straight. But that's just a little fascia. That's a wood fascia that is added on afterward. So that could have been anything. The windows are the same. Everything's the same other than, obviously, like I said, this is 10 inches taller. The little plaque on there is in the same place, but it's a different plaque. It actually says Sportster. So researching that, Sportster Manufacturing Company on Downey Avenue in Paramount came up, and that I did get some history on that. They made flat bottom boats, like jet ski or water skiing boats, things like that, like glass bars, in the mid to late 60s. So they were a fiberglass manufacturing company, obviously, that made fiberglass boats. So I'm thinking that Romer was first. It was Romer first, and then became Sportster after they sold the tooling off for the fiberglass camper, and basically they continued to make the boats, but they also made these campers that they were tooled for. It could have gone opposite, and Sportster made them first and sold off the tooling, but I think it was the other way around, just judging on the years of the vehicles that were in this catalog. So let me move some stuff around and we'll show you the inside. Anyways, so I actually was just waiting for the sun to go down so you can see how cozy it is. So this is with all the lights on, obviously, all being two. Anyway, I'll show you around the mansion inside. So, like I said, this was raised. It's from here to here was added. So this is me standing with my head hunched over. My wife barely even needs to duck her head. But that being said, I can sit comfortably. Originally, you wouldn't have been able to sit on this. It would have just been two strips that are steps that go over the fender wells and the floor, and a piece of wood that went in between them. So you'd have storage under and a bed on top, and that's it. Long ways. This was altered, like I said, by the original owner, but also he added these cutouts to make a sideways bed / bench. The table wasn't actually here when I got it. This is a different table, and these brackets legs weren't there. I added those to reinforce the seats. So I added a floor. Like I said, I just added some aluminum over the floor, added these legs, made this fit the hole. It was off by a couple inches. And then if you look long ways back there, there's a piece of wood that goes across that. Once this table drops down to make a bed, it was about that short from the cushions, so I had to increase the length of that. So obviously all the windows have cranks other than the front one. The lights are just basic and plug into an outlet right here that has, you know, other outlets for plugging other stuff into, and USBs for chargers and stuff. And that just runs to the outside with a little waterproof door, and that just plugs into wherever you're at. I'm gonna eventually run that on a power inverter and a battery, but haven't done that yet. So these are the original cushions that guy put in at some point. Like I said, it's a nice height. You can sit at it comfortably. You know, the window sticking out, and with the increased height, it actually goes over the cab. And it's nice, it's comfortable. And then when you want to go to sleep, this latch, or this rail, holds it down. You just put it over that, pop that leg up, pop the whole thing down on the brackets. And then these two cushions go to the center, and it's a bed. And you know, we fit fine on there. And I mean, obviously you can put storage or whatever you want under here, or kids, but works great. I'm actually gonna make some boxes. My wife's idea was to put some boxes right here and slide out for storage, because that's all under seat, so that won't take up any more room if you're sitting in it or if you're laying on it, but you can pull out storage containers. That'll work great. Yeah, it wasn't too cold in here. We had a little plug-in heater, but that was it, but it was perfect. So this is, you know, it's a perfect little road trip camper for our little family. And did you have fun in there? Yeah? She's being shy. Oh, look at her shirt though. Ooh. You can look at our apparel store for more merchandise and available options. Okay. Anyway, this is a roamer camper, truck camper, sliding camper, of unknown year origin, but it's pretty awesome. So if you have any information, feel free to contact me. Justin at Vintage 55 Restorations. This has been Vintage 55 Garage. Bye guys.